Good morning, everybody, and a happy Tuesday morning to you. A big thank you to that one on Twitter for the picture you're currently looking at. Once again, we have kind of a semi-long video because a lot went on in here, you guys. So much to cover. Let's just jump in and cover it all, shall we? Let's go. Let's start with Prince William. He joined world leaders at Pope Francis's funeral. He was there on behalf of King Charles. And remember, King Charles met the Pope, I think it was 12 days before his passing. The funeral took place, as I think most people know, in St. Peter's Square in Vatican City. And the decision for William to go, they said, is in keeping with modern tradition and is seen as a major milestone in William's role as a global statesman and future king. Remember, when Charles was Prince of Wales, he went to Pope John Paul II's funeral representing the late Queen Elizabeth. It was very crowded, lots and lots of big name people there. For those of you who don't recognize, and by the way, it looked like a beautiful funeral service. For those of you who didn't recognize, William then was seen talking with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who King Charles had spent time with, when he was on tour, and Senate President Russa. He was seen talking to King Philippe and Queen Letizia of Spain. During the actual ceremony, William was sitting next to German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and he was seated behind Queen Rania of Jordan. Now, I do also want to say, I think those guards' uniforms are really something. They're really, traditional. All right. Now, the next thing is, I'm not going to get political, but I have to tell you, these pictures that came out of Zelensky sitting one-on-one with President Trump really caught my attention. It looked like Macron wanted in on the meeting and Trump was like, no, this is going to be a one-on-one thing. We're just going to talk. And Zelensky was like, yeah, just let us talk. And the two of them sat down and these pictures came out that they just struck me. It was so powerful. And then Zelensky put a thing up on X saying, good to talk one-on-one. So, let's see what came out of that meeting. Of course, later on, Zelensky met with Macron and also Keir Starmer. So, I guess that's what funerals are for. Next up, Lady Helen Taylor, who is the daughter of the Duke of Kent, posed for a picture with her children, Columbus, Cassius, and Eloise, and her brother, the Earl of St. Andrews. This took place on April 22nd, and it was for her mother's charity, the Future Talent 20th anniversary at the Roundhouse. Very nice. Let's move on now to Virginia Jaffrey, 41 years old. We know that she accused Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein of a certain kind of abuse, and she has unalived herself at the age of 41. Remember, she was a U.S. citizen, but she'd been living with her children and husband in a suburb of North Perth. She and her husband had split after 22 years of marriage, and apparently she really wanted to see her children. Don't forget, it was just 3 weeks ago that she put up that picture that looked doctored, claiming she'd been in a severe car crash and she was going to die in 4 days, and please let me see my children. And come to find out, the crash was not that severe, and that was supposed to be a private post to, I guess, elicit sympathy to let her husband have, let her see the children. Just a reminder, she claimed that she was trafficked even though she was over the age of consent in Europe and in New York the entire time this was going on. Also, she was being sued by some girls who claimed that she groomed them to be trafficked. So there was a little bit of problem going on. And as a reminder, she also accused Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, and he decided to fight her in court. And she had to come out and say she made a mistake when she accused him. I was very young. It was stressful. And, Mr. Dershowitz has from the beginning consistently denied these allegations. She had to retract what she said about him. And it wasn't that long ago that some emails, documents are being released, and an email came out between Virginia Jaffrey and Sharon Churcher of the Mail on Sunday. And in this email, they were discussing all the money they're making, and Sharon was the one that insisted that Virginia accuse Alan Dershowitz because they believe he is a pedo, but there's no proof that he's a pedo. So all these documents are coming out, and they're not good. What they basically show is that Virginia is accusing all kinds of people without any proof of anything. As a matter of fact, the picture that she had of her and Andrew, people are saying might have been photoshopped, and nobody has ever seen the original. It's just the one picture. I've always said that Andrew should have fought like Alan Dershowitz did to clear his name. The problem was it was the Queen's Platinum Jubilee coming up, and the whole thing was being overshadowed, and the Queen just wanted the whole thing to be done with. And so, yeah, I think that's what happened. I think if Andrew had fought it, I don't think any of this would have occurred. It also could be that there's more stuff coming out, and that is what pushed this woman to do what she did. Or it could just be that she couldn't handle the divorce. Well, no matter what you think of her, whether she was a liar or not, what she did is very sad. I feel bad for her, and I feel very bad for her children. While all this is happening, Prince Andrew's ex-girlfriend, Lady Victoria Hervey, really upset people with her posts about Virginia Jaffrey after her suicide. So right before, remember, she put up this picture and she said karma on it. And then she said, when lies catch up to you, there's no way out. Now, she is best known for having a brief, fling with Prince Andrew before quitting the UK for Hollywood, where she got a small part, just FYI, in a Tom Hanks movie. She has since then made a name for herself as a Donald Trump cheerleader and a public defender of her royal ex-boyfriend. And she is a truth warrior, she says. And she also, by the way, has been branded a conspiracy theorist for claiming COVID vaccines were part of a plot orchestrated by Bill Gates to depopulate the world. Anyway, there was so much backlash on the posts that she put up that she then put up a post saying she has taken the decision to pause her posts on the topic of Virginia Jaffrey, irrespective of circumstances. Suicide in anyone at any time is tragic, and any young mother who has children even more so. I don't think she's going to be able to backtrack so easily. This is going to get ugly. All right, let's move on to the podcast. You guys remember when archetypes got beaten out by whale sounds for sleep? The same thing has now happened. Meghan Markle's new Lemonada podcast, which we know was a follow-up to Archetypes, which failed to land and led to Spotify not renewing their contract, has now plummeted out of the Spotify 100 list in both the US and the UK. And if you can believe it, a show called Sleep Cove, another sleeping show, which helps listeners with guided sleep meditation and sleep hypnosis, has proven more popular in the British listeners group, placing 79th on the Spotify's UK chart. Unbelievable. And the last episode that she just put out didn't even crack Apple's top 200 chart. This show is not landing. But we know why it's not landing, right? There's no Taylor Swift. There's no Beyonce. There's no Hailey Bieber. These are people like Beyonce is supposed to be such a good friend of hers. Why isn't she on the show? Why isn't Serena Williams on the show? Why isn't Mariah Carey on the show? Why doesn't she have successful people on the show? Instead, she has her hairdresser on there. No wonder it's not going well. And of course, she always turns the attention back to herself, and it's always all about her, and she's completely out of touch. Critic Ingrid Seward of Majesty Magazine said 4 words that I think really gets it for everybody, that all of her podcasts, quote, they are deeply dull. She's not cutting edge. She hasn't pressed the right buttons. She's just not talented enough. I agree. All right, I had to touch on this. They're saying that Meghan Markle, basically, she's dumped her dad, she dumped her first husband, she dumped the royal family, so Harry has absolutely no chance. Remember, she's been married twice, and she's completely estranged from her brother, her sister, and her father. What people are saying is that this story is going to add badly for Harry. This marriage is not going to last. People don't want it to end, but let's face it, it's not going to last because people act in character. So all you have to do is look how she's dealt with the people in her lives. She dumped her father. She dumped her first husband. She dumped Jessica Mulroney. She dumped the entire British royal family. And yeah, it's just not going well. They're in a crossroads now. And when couples reach those crossroads where they're branching off with different goals for their long term, like Meghan wants to to be a billionaire celebrity, and Harry appears to be happy to just do a few charity engagements and focus on the things that he likes. Meghan continues to try to build her empire. She keeps launching these business ventures and they keep failing. The podcast is an absolute fail. Netflix was a fail, and as ever isn't going well either. I mean, look what she did to her ex-husband. Even Meghan's father says he never understood why Meghan ended the marriage. She ended it, by the way, by just mailing the rings back in the mail. He is a very successful producer, but apparently she wanted him to help get her career going. And when he didn't, she dumped him. But you know what? She has issues with everybody. You know, Meghan is absolutely behind these kinds of articles, these horrible articles about Thomas Markle. Oh, he's had 2 marriages and 0 happy endings. Well, the same could be said about Meghan. And by the way, his ex-wife suddenly comes out in 2019 and claims that Thomas Markle is a serial cheat who ruined her relationship with his lust. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. I don't know why she did that. Then they talked about the fact that he won the lottery. He paid for everything for Meghan. And according to Meghan, she started supporting him financially in 2014. He filed for bankruptcy in 2016. And according to the Daily Mail, he's been in trouble for unpaid taxes. And just like clockwork, the article says, his rock bottom moment aligned perfectly with Meghan's relationship with Prince Harry going public. And that all of his behavior, his attention-seeking behavior, was because of her relationship with Harry. And we know also that Thomas has had 2 heart attacks and a stroke and has been in and out of the hospital. And Meghan has not even bothered to reach out to him by letter, email, or phone call in any way, shape, or form, because Meghan is all about Meghan. You know, since they've left the royal family, they've done Archewell, which lately hasn't done anything. Their Netflix deal, which isn't doing well. Their Archetypes, which got canceled and they were called grifters. Next up, you have Clever Blends, the coffee that was found to have high amounts of lead. Sesta Collective, which is found to be using very poor women and paying them a pittance for what they're producing. As Ever, which is being bombed. Then you have your new podcast, which is also being bombed. And the Shop Me page, where she's making money off of other people's stuff. Well, Tina Brown has come out and has said that Harry and Meghan are disaster tourists, something we've heard before, and also that Harry misses being a prince because he was good at it. That Harry took pleasure in his previous position, and he was once successful at adding a quote-unquote sizzle into the royal family because he knew how to play the role of prince. He likes it. That's what is so ironic for him. And for a bit, he didn't, because the palace is boring and oppressive, and he didn't think he wanted to do it anymore. But now he's had a few years doing it without them, and it's become very apparent that he misses it. She said Harry and Meghan have become disaster tourists and their public appearances are no longer groundbreaking. And she gave the example of visiting the victims of the Los Angeles fires back in January, where they handed out the food. And Miss Brown said that Harry is aware that he's becoming a disaster tourist and he feels it keenly, but obviously he's loyal to his wife. She also claims that The Spare was written and driven by Harry and Meghan's appetite for money, and she has saying now the same thing that I've been saying all along. There will be no chance of a reunion because of the bombshell book claims that came out. She pointed out that Harry and Meghan had a greater positive impact on things when they operated under the royal umbrella than through anything they've done since they stepped away from the monarchy. The two of them are always talking about doing good, but what good are they doing? The good you can do as a royal is much more potent. This is the same woman who talked about the With Love Meghan show and said that Meghan has an unerring instinct for getting it wrong and she's never quite figured out a convincing persona. And that she said, who announces a lifestyle brand and hounds celebrity friends to talk up their jam on social media without doing due diligence on the availability of the trademark? Yeah. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, Gettr, Rumble, email, my Amazon account, my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale, as well as a physical address and my coffee fund. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, Have a great day.